Hi YouTube family, it's Daughter of the Most High. I hope you're doing well. I was just on Facebook and I got really triggered by a video that was on there. I It was an animal abuse video, and there are a lot of those. It seems like there's certain countries that seem to produce a lot of animal abuse videos, maybe to make money. But I came across a video a few minutes ago and it made me cry. It did. And I was so angry. And I said, because we thought we were leaving. Many of us heard from the Lord and we thought we were leaving. And we're still here. And I said, God, I can't stand this place. I can't stand what it was two horses. It was horse fighting, which I've really not seen before. And it came up, and I know better than to click on it, but I clicked on it. Many times I can't, I have to scroll past very quickly, but it was horse fight. And one horse was clearly winning. The other horse had the whole side of his face ripped off and bloody. And he was terrified. He had, you know how horses get that really wide-eyed anxiety look because horses are very skittish and they're very afraid sometimes. I feel so bad for horses. Oh, I feel so bad for many animals. But anyway, so he was terrified. He had that wide-eyed, not blinking look like, when is the next attack going to come? And they were in a fence, and the people all around were watching. And I thought, and they were thin horses. They were smaller horses. And it made me so sick that I cried. And I thought, you're not going to take care of that horse. You guys are jerks. Look what you're doing. Look at what your entertainment is. This is fun for you. And now that horse has the whole side of his face ripped off, just below the eye and down to his nose and mouth. And the flies are going to attack him to pieces. He's not going to be able to sleep. It's going to get infected. It's going to get maggots, and he's going to die that way. That's what's going to happen. That's what they do. And so I was thinking that, and I just said, God, I literally can't stand it here. Everything we hear on the news is lies. I don't even trust the whole Charlie Kirk story. I don't. And not that Charlie was at fault. I think the system and the darkness and the evil and those that serve Satan. I just said, God, and as a child, and I don't know if you felt like I do, I'm 64. I will be 65 in January, if we're here in January. And I felt as a child, God, I don't belong here. I always had, like how so many people have a sense of God. It's like written on their heart. And I didn't get born again till age 20, but I knew about God. And I knew at a young age, I was like, God, I don't belong here. I don't belong on earth. I can't stand. It was always the abuse. And I grew up in an abusive household. My dad was abusive toward my mom and toward my older two siblings, toward all of us, but especially the older two siblings. And so I grew up in abuse. My dad was alcoholic, and it's quite a story there. I don't need to get into it. I mean, where there's alcohol, there's trouble of all sorts, and for most of them, some people are quiet drinkers, but my dad wasn't. And my mom was, of course, the better parent, but still a distant parent. So we grew up, all 5 kids grew up really we had the basic needs met. We had, our house, and my mom's like OCD neat, so our house was always perfect. She cooked, but she was very distant. We weren't parented. We didn't have guidance. We didn't have love. We didn't have affection. We didn't have a family unit. It wasn't safe in our house. And then when I got married, and that wasn't safe either. He's my covenant spouse because it was a first marriage for each of us, but I still call him my ex. And he threatened me when our son was 14 months old, after finding out that he has a major disability and a cyst in his brain and all that. And so I felt unsafe in that house. But as a Christian, I felt like I had to stay. I did. I felt like I had to stay until I finally couldn't anymore. And so I've been divorced for 17 years. And so abuse has been, a part of my life for not the last 7 years, or really even, well, for a long time. And but I've had a lot of abuse and a lot of fear in my life. And so when I saw that video, because I was like, what are they doing? I don't normally see horse fights, and didn't really know about that. I've seen dog fights. I've seen where they have a more gentle dog, and then they'll surround him by about 6 or 7 ferocious dogs, and and then they kill him. I mean, we have such a wretched world, and the child trafficking and the abductions that are going on, and they abduct for sacrifice. They're satanic sacrifices. There's all kinds of things going on. And then just the filth, like the brothels and the strip shows and all the garbage that, and I just can hardly stand this world. And you may think because I'm saying this on this video that I focus on this all the time. I don't. I have to stay away from it. And I'll see it here and I'll see it there, and I saw it as a kid and I saw it in my teens, and I sometimes, like today, will take a glance and then I'm sorry that I did, because then I can't get the images out of my head. I'll think about that horse and think of his poor, long, agonizing death, because I can't imagine that they would actually have any kind of, compassion in his dying stages, Oh, it's so disgusting. But it's so hard to be here. And I know most people are able to just shut it off. They turn a blind eye, they don't pay attention, they don't care, they don't, if they hear about it, they are like, and then they can quickly get on with their comfortable life. That has never been me. And I don't know why, but it's really never been me. And I have watched, like when I was younger, I've watched some like PETA videos. That was a mistake. That's when I learned I can't do this because I can't get it out of my mind and my heart. All I do is ache. And I've seen some of the horrible things that go on with factory farming and the chickens and the cows and the pigs and all the stuff they do, and then overpacking the semis with horses to Mexico and all the wretched stuff. And I used to, I actually had partnered with PETA when I was younger because I can't stand animal abuse. And then I just thought, I have to get away from this because you can see how much in this video it affects me. It so greatly affects me, and it always has. And so I wanted to address a little bit of the Feast of Trumpets again. And because there's so many people being so negative, first of all, most of us heard from the Lord. I know I did. I got confirmations from the Lord about it. So there's that, but we've already covered that. The other thing about the Feast of Trumpets rapture is when I thought we were going one of the first things I thought of and thought of periodically thereafter is, I'm finally getting out of here. I'm finally getting out of this dirty earth. And I'm someone that loves the oceans and loves riding my bike and loves the sunshine, and I love the night sky, and I love the moon, and I love all that stuff, all of God's creation. I love animals, and I try to be good to people. I've always worked in human services, but my thought was, I'm finally getting out of here. Even working in senior living the past 10 months has been hard for me, and I have a heart that I serve people, and there's some good things about it. There's been some really good things, but there's been some really hard things. I am watching people in their later years with basically little to no mind left, little to no life satisfaction, very little. It's hard to be around. It is. And I've thought a few times, can I actually keep doing this? Can I keep doing this, Lord? I'm trying. But it's hard sometimes. And I've said to myself, why, God, why? Why can't these people? But I know why they can't die. Most of them don't know the Lord. So this is their last bit of any kind of peace. Now, I've been talking about memory issues. And memory issues aren't necessarily painful because they don't even realize that they lack memory and cognitive ability. That's the good side of dementia. They really don't recognize a lot or any of it in a lot of ways. We see it. They don't see it. But it's hard to be around sometimes, and I've struggled. So there's been that too. A big part of the Feast of Trumpets rapture was getting out of here, guys. Getting out of here. Getting out of the earth system, Satan's domain here. And God is so good, and He has blessed my life with good things. I have my 2 kids. My daughter's pregnant, grandbaby on the way, little girl. I'm almost 65, and I still ride my bike. I'm active, I'm healthy and good. The Lord, I don't have health insurance. I think I've said that on here before. And when I've had anything come up, I just take authority over it in the name of Jesus. God has kept me safe. He's kept me well. I walk in divine health. But I still struggle here sometimes. And I probably should not have clicked on that horse video, but I was curious because I was like, what is this? What are they doing? And I wished I hadn't, because I did cry. And I said, God, I want to get out of here. I can't stand this evil place between the animals and the children and the rape and the, skanky everything. Hollywood is one big skank fest. It is. And the adrenochrome and the underground, all the underground evil that they've got going on, and the New World Order coming, and the Mark of the Beast and Satan's time. And thank heaven we're nearly at the end. But I wanted to share that as much as the mockers and scoffers are in the face of those of us that were watching and waiting and believing for the rapture and thought we were going, I wanted to share this side of it. And maybe there's someone that doesn't think about getting out of here. Maybe there's someone that can turn off the evil and just pay attention to the good. My house is good. My people are good. My life is good. My yard is good. My work is good. So I'm good. I'm not someone that can shut off the evil that goes on in this world. I'm just not, and I never have been. And that's when we were still here on the 25th, or late, on the 24th. It was, we're still here. We're still here. And I don't know if you feel like I do. It's okay if you don't. I can't help who I am. God gave me the heart that He has given me. But I do struggle. Sometimes I've learned to work with it. I'm 64 years old, but Yeah, I just get triggered. Sometimes I get triggered really bad. Like when I cried about that horse, I just think you evil. And some of the language comes out. I'm calling them names. I am. And I don't use F bombs, but I called them, you know, a few things. Yeah, I've never, even before I was a Christian, I was never an F bomber. But I just wanted to share that, fam. That's all for now.